Today, we'll go over what girls do when those days come at an altitude of 8,000 meters, why climbers return from the mountains bald and without toenails, how they wash and brush their teeth up there, and much more. Let's go. Why do climbers' faces and fingers swell? When climbers go up to high altitude, the body doesn't get enough oxygen. The blood becomes thicker, circulates more slowly, and fluid gets trapped in the tissues. Because of the cold and the low pressure, water leaves the blood vessels and builds up in the face and fingers, causing swelling. The kidneys work worse at altitude, but you still have to drink a lot, so the extra fluid doesn't leave the body. If the swelling gets severe, with headaches and dizziness, that's a sign of altitude sickness, and you need to go down. At first, it feels like simple fatigue. Your cheeks look a bit puffy, your fingers don't bend like before. But within a few hours, the skin tightens, as if the body is trying to protect itself from invisible pressure. Above 5,000 meters, blood thickens. The heart beats faster just to push a little oxygen through. Tiny blood vessels burst from the strain, and the face swells as if after a punch. Fingers turn into stiff wooden pegs. Some climbers can't fasten their jackets. Others lose sensitivity, and with it, the ability to hold on to a rope. This is an illness. This is the price. The body fights the altitude, but the mountains are stronger. If fingers or skin have died, that means the tissue froze and lost blood supply. The skin darkens, loses feeling, and gangrene can begin. If you don't descend in time and get help, doctors often have to amputate fingers or limbs to save the climber's life. The result? The price of summiting can be amputation of toes, fingers, sometimes even more. What do climbers eat at 8,000 meters? At altitude, climbers fry marbled Australian Black Angus steak, washing it down with Conti Grand Cognac from 1945. Just kidding. At 8,000 meters, food is nothing like normal. The body can't digest heavy meals, and cooking is difficult because of the cold and thin air. Light, high-calorie food. Instant soups, quick porridge, energy bars, chocolate, nuts. Liquids, tea, hot chocolate, water, often melted from snow, sometimes even yellow snow. Minimal cooking. Everything must be easy to heat or edible without cooking. At that altitude, people lose their appetite. Food feels foreign. Even the smell of canned meals can make you sick, but the body still needs energy, at least to simply stand upright. At 8,000 meters, food is fuel. Bags of dried meat, chocolate, energy gels, sometimes a piece of frozen bread. Anything you can eat without effort and without chewing much. Many eat right in their gloves, lying inside the tent. Sometimes outside, in the wind, where every minute can cost your life. At minus 40, even tea turns to ice. So climbers learn to drink boiling water in seconds, before it cools, before it becomes solid. Every spoon of soup feels like a reward. Every sip of water feels like a breath of air. How do climbers wash and brush their teeth? Brushing teeth, same as usual, but they sometimes dilute toothpaste with water, or just eat clean snow afterward. Washing. A real shower is impossible. They use wet wipes, cloths, or snow to wipe the body. Water is scarce. It must be melted from snow, so every drop is used carefully. Above 6,000 meters, the idea of hygiene stops existing. People brush their teeth quickly, before the bristles freeze. They wipe their faces with snow, sometimes their hands. Sometimes they simply wait until the body gets used to the dirt. The skin cracks. Bloody lines appear on the lips. But no one complains, because it doesn't matter. In the mountains, a person stops being clean. They become part of the very ground they walk on, mixed with dust, sweat, blood, and cold. Why do climbers lose their nails and hair after expeditions? The main reasons are severe dehydration, extreme stress, physical exhaustion, harsh conditions, poor nutrition, and as a result, disrupted blood circulation that damages hair follicles and nail plates. The body uses its resources only for survival. Hair and nails become unnecessary luxury. After descending, many notice. Hair falls out in clumps. Nails darken, break, and sometimes fall off entirely. It's not just a sign of fatigue. It's a mark left by death that almost touched you, but missed. The body sheds what it couldn't save, sometimes together with memories. Advice. To get ahead of the consequences, shave your head before the climb and remove your nails beforehand, as long as it doesn't cancel the trip. What happens to the body if you fall asleep at 8,000 meters? The brain and organs suffer from oxygen deprivation. Confusion, weakness, and loss of coordination may appear. Temperature drop. The body loses heat rapidly, increasing the risk of frostbite. Heart and breathing issues. Breathing slows down, and the pulse drops. At 8,000 meters, sleep is an enemy. The brain begs for rest. But if you close your eyes, you might never open them again. There is simply not enough oxygen. When a person falls asleep, their breathing slows. The brain stops receiving enough air, and within minutes, the body begins to shut down. First, feeling disappears in the fingers. Then, the thoughts. The mind drifts into a soft darkness that feels like peace. Many climbers who died on the mountain were found in sleeping poses, sitting, hands on their knees, eyes closed. They just wanted to rest, for a minute, and stayed there forever. What do women do if their period starts in the mountains? If a woman gets her period at high altitude, she manages it the same way as at home, but with the limitations of the environment. Hygiene. Pads or tampons are used, changed as economically as possible to save water. Clothes. They try to keep clothing warm and dry because moisture increases the risk of hypothermia. Cleaning. A full wash is impossible, so they use wet wipes or snow to clean themselves. Health. For severe pain, they may take painkillers, but only those safe at altitude. Women use whatever they have. Compact hygiene products, absorbent cloth, improvised bandages, sometimes even a single wrapped sock. Everything is packed carefully so it doesn't freeze and doesn't attract wild animals by smell. Any mistake can be dangerous: infection, frostbite, blood loss. And still, they keep climbing. How do climbers deal with fear and panic at altitude? At high altitude, fear is normal, caused by exhaustion and lack of oxygen. Climbers deal with it by controlling their breathing with slow, steady inhales, focusing on each step and on safety, relying on training, experience, and the team, using rituals or mantras to calm themselves. Every step across an ice crevasse feels like walking on thin glass. Any movement can be the last one. And those who climb above the clouds aren't the ones who don't feel fear. They're the ones who know how to fear correctly. Fear doesn't disappear. It whispers, "Stop." But if you give in, if you let your body shake, you'll freeze. Panic kills faster than cold. It squeezes the chest, makes breathing uneven, and thoughts chaotic. And then, a person loses the most important thing: control. To survive, climbers learn to think in steps. Just step, inhale, exhale. No plans, no emotions. The body moves, the mind stays silent. Sometimes it feels like meditation on the edge of survival. At night, when the tent shakes in the wind, fear returns. Some talk to themselves, some pray. Some simply stare into the darkness, waiting for sunrise, proof that they're still alive.
Subscribe to my channel.